I'm Jenny Fern, and welcome to my library. I am a chaotic neutral mechanical engineer who's really into permaculture and wants to talk about books. So let's talk about books. Today, I would like to do a follow-on video to my public domain video, which is by far my highest viewed video that I've put out so far. So thank you all. Let me know if you found me from that, because I got way more subscribers from that than any one singular thing I've done in the past. So again, welcome to you all. I really wanted to talk about some other works that were published in 1929, but maybe they either were already in the public domain for one reason or another, or I overlooked them the first time. That's what today's video is about. I'm also going to tack on at the end some comments from folks on the original 2025 public domain video that I made, either testimonials of people who have read and loved some of the works that are available in the public domain this year, or just added some more information that I thought was worth sharing with everybody. The public domain is works that are available freely to the public. They become a part of the culture of the public, and they're no longer under copyright. So that means that they can be freely accessible through different sources like Internet Archive, Project Gutenberg, LibriVox, and other repositories for public domain works. In the United States, there is a general rule that works published in 1929 and older are in the public domain. And there are some other laws, like if the copyright is not renewed, if the author has died, I think it's 70 years after author death, stuff like that has come into play for the works that I will discuss today. So they're not newly in the public domain, but they were published in 1929, and I wanted to mention them. Copyright laws are different in different countries. I will also be providing the death of the author, like I did in the previous video. So the first book that I'd like to talk about is The Blacker the Berry. Wallace Thurman's The Blacker the Berry tells the story of Emma Lou Morgan, a young Black woman who faces rejection and discrimination, not only from society at large, but also within her own community due to her dark skin. The novel explores themes of colorism, self-acceptance, and the complexities of racial identity as Emma Lou seeks love and belonging. Wallace Thurman, 1902 to 1934, so he died quite young, was an influential writer, editor, and playwright associated with the Harlem Renaissance. Known for his bold explorations of race, class, and sexuality, Thurman also edited Fire, a literary magazine dedicated to showcasing the work of Black writers. Wallace Thurman, I was reading his Wikipedia, was an interesting person. And another work from 1929 was a play called Harlem, which was co-written by Thurman and William Jordan Rapp about a migrant family adapting to life in Harlem. So I also wanted to mention that quickly. The other piece that I really wanted to talk about was Passing, which was in the public domain already because the copyright was not renewed. Passing is a work by Nella Larson, and it follows childhood friends Irene Redfield and Claire Kendry, who reconnect as adults. Claire, who is passing as white, becomes entangled in Irene's life, leading to tensions that unravel their friendship and challenge notions of identity, loyalty, and race. I think there was a movie or a show on Netflix about this work. Nella Larson, 1891 to 1964, was an American novelist, nurse, and librarian, celebrated for her contributions to the Harlem Renaissance literature. Born to a Danish mother and a West Indian father, her works often address the complexities of race and identity in America. Then I have a book of poetry by County Cullen. This is The Black Christ and Other Poems. County Cullen's The Black Christ and Other Poems is a powerful collection that uses biblical imagery to draw parallels between the suffering of Christ and the African American experience. Themes of faith, racial injustice, and the human condition are explored through lyrical and evocative verse. And I'm fairly certain that this was also available in the public domain earlier than this year. County Cullen, 1903 to 1946, was a prominent poet, novelist, and playwright of the Harlem Renaissance. Known for blending classical poetic forms with themes of race and identity, Cullen's work left an enduring legacy on American literature. So I did specifically want to bring up some Harlem Renaissance writers because I have really enjoyed Harlem Renaissance writing, and I did notice when I had gone through my list of public domain books this year, I didn't note any Harlem Renaissance writers. And then when I was doing the research for this, I realized it's because most of those really important Harlem Renaissance works from 1929 had already been in the public domain. I still wanted to mention them. And now we have some other works that I also just thought sounded quite interesting. This is Nellie Bloom and Other Stories by Marjorie Latimer. This collection of short stories showcases Latimer's experimental writing style and her focus on feminist and socialist themes. The stories explore the complexities of human relationships, gender dynamics, and societal constraints with a bold and innovative approach. Marjorie Latimer, 1899 to 1932, was an American novelist and short story writer whose work often reflected her progressive ideals and commitment to social justice. Her untimely death at age 33 curtailed a promising literary career. And then the last new book I have to discuss today is Seven Brothers by Alexis Kivi. Apologies for the pronunciation. This is a Finnish work and the author is Finnish. This novel follows the lives of seven brothers who rebel against societal norms and retreat into the wilderness only to confront challenges that test their unity and personal growth. Originally published in Finnish in 1870, the English translation was first published in 1929, introducing the Finnish classic to a broader audience. Again, reading the Wikipedia article for Seven Brothers, it sounds like this is considered like one of the most important Finnish novels. Alexis Kivi, 1834 to 1872, was a Finnish author and playwright widely regarded as the father of Finnish literature. His works often portrayed rural life and explored themes of independence, community, and the human spirit. Also, I would love to hear any of the works that have been translated into English that are now in the public domain. I tried to find more than Seven Brothers and All Quiet on the Western Front. It was so hard to find. Please let me know if you have any recommendations, because I wanted to get like a slightly more diverse offering. We are into the comments from all of you from the 2025 public domain video that I made at the beginning of the year. These are going to be a combination of testimonials and also people bringing other works to the table. So first we have a comment from Kathleen Johnson, and it says, "The Sound and the Fury is one of my favorite books of all time. It's not for everyone, but I loved it." I gotta say, every single comment I get from people who vouch for a book increases my desire to read that book like twofold. Even people just saying that they had read it and they thought it was kind of weird, I'm like, ooh, well now I need to know. Now a comment from Kit Kat Montana. All Quiet on the Western Front was my most impactful read of 2024. I was weeping in bed at the end of it. It was so well written, and now I recommend it to everyone. It was a quick read too. That might get me to read All Quiet on the Western Front. And a comment from Arek Krolak. I actually bought High Wind in Jamaica for my parents as a child. I would like to read it now. And from Lisa Tuckett. High Wind in Jamaica is excellent. Also, anything by Warwick Deeping is simply wonderful. In particular, his short stories. And from Anne Marie Myers. I had planned on reading A High Wind in Jamaica. I guess this will be the year to do so. There's a lot of comments about A High Wind in Jamaica, and I am a little surprised. I hadn't heard of this work before, and a lot of you have heard of it, especially the movie, and I think we're all thinking of reading this book this year. From Patricia Pendlebury. The High Wind of Jamaica was a movie I saw in my very younger years. I adored it so much. I had no idea it was a book. And then I also had a lot of comments from people who love and adore Agatha Christie, but I would like to highlight this comment from Thusnelda. You totally should read Agatha Christie, and Dorothy L. Sayers too. The novel you showed is no Poirot or Marple story, but nonetheless worth a try. Thank you for having an eye on Public Domain Day. Now a comment from Linda Abraham. I would like to know if books by Stefan Zweig are in the public domain, including English translations. Actually, now that I'm rereading this, yes, there are books by Stefan Zweig in the public domain. I completely misinterpreted this. I thought you were asking if there were books that were coming into the public domain. So let me go get my notebook because I did take some notes about this. I did find that there was a German version of Buchmandel from 1929, and there were translated works from 1927. So again, I have to go get my notebook for that. I can't believe I didn't write anything down. But 24 Hours in the Life of a Woman is one that I was exceedingly interested in. But now I'm realizing I didn't write anything that I found down. I only looked it up. Now we have a comment from Lisa Davis that says, I am not a fan of Steinbeck, not because he isn't a good writer, but because he kills all his characters. They are all tragedies. It is so funny because I just reread The Pearl recently. Oh, hi. Hello, thank you. I swear there's a guy staring straight at me. Like, straight at me. And then we got a comment from Christ Chick Autistic. What a descriptive name. That says, I remember I read The Red Pony as a kid. So sad. I loved this comment from Bakita. If you ever miss California, read Steinbeck. I've never read anyone else who put you right there, enabling you to smell the earth and feel the heat of the sun. And myself, being a California girl, I just had to like it. And then we got a comment from Slick Jack, who was perplexed that I did not have any familiarity with whodunit fiction, which, hey, I have now read my very first Christie, so cut me some slack. He says, one additional title, which I believe is now entering the public domain, is Dodsworth by Sinclair Lewis. I believe Lewis was the first American author to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature. His prior works were already in the public domain and have been published earlier in the 1920s, including Arrowsmith and Elmer Gantry. It has been decades since I read Sinclair Lewis, but I remember those three as being the best I've read. I just have to say, I've read two works by Sinclair Lewis, It Can't Happen Here and Babbitt. Babbitt I read the year before last and I really enjoyed it. And It Can't Happen Here I read several years earlier, so I don't really remember how I felt about it. I think I read it very quickly. But I'm definitely interested in more of his works, so I appreciate you bringing those works to my attention. I would like, again, to thank you all so much for being so receptive to my previous video, for finding me through that, for leaving so many comments that broadened everybody's experience and understanding of the works. It was a little scary having a video of mine reach much more of an audience than I'm used to, and for the most part, you treated me very well, so I'm very appreciative of that. If you enjoyed this, consider sharing it with a friend who you think would also enjoy it. Consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back again soon.